Good morning, Delaware. It's one of those mornings.
We got it.
We got it.
We're on it now, but man, it took us a moment there. I like, there's nothing like live radio, because if we were actually recording this ahead of time, we could have gotten all that smoothed out.
Yeah.
Nobody would have known. Yeah. So anyway, as we walked into the studio, I realized I brought the wrong notebook instead of the one that I had all the notes ready for today's show. So,
right.
And then, we're just trying to find headphones with the right plugs and everything. So anyway.
Mark saves the day.
Mark saves the day. Gage saves the day. Yes. So.
What would we do without you, Mark?
And of course, it started when I couldn't call in this morning to do our tease for the show because we were having troubles with the phone. So it was just,
Is it Friday the 13th?
It should be. Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's Friday the 28th.
Friday the 28th, yes. But it's 2020, so God knows anything can happen.
Hey, it seems to be getting a little better now, I think.
Yeah.
I think it should be, right. So
less red, more orange.
More orange. I'm all in favor.
Looking forward to that yellow.
Yes. Gamification Nation. Get to yellow.
All right.
All right.
Now we're ready to start the show. How are you doing, Nicole?
I'm all right.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Good music on my 92.9.
That's right. Good music this morning. Hello, Bon Jovi.
Yes.
Soul Asylum, you said was the other one, Mark?
Yes. Yep. So, and then, Hey, Marky, You're So Fine. I heard that one. And,
There you go. It was a good music morning.
Yes,
There you
go. So anyway, our guest today is Kelly Cochran, who is the Youth Services Manager for the Delaware County District Library. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
There we go. Success.
Yay.
I hope you're having a better morning than we are, Kelly. How you doing?
Pretty good. Hanging out in the storage closet in the upstairs of the library where it's quiet.
Well, you got your very own studio up there then, so good.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. So, Nicole, what have you been reading, listening to? You were telling me a little bit about this book out in the lobby.
Yeah, I'm doing another book. I actually read a physical book this week. Well, I did what I do sometimes, which is I do a little bit of a hybrid. I check out the audiobook on Libby and I get the physical book so that it's just when it's really good and I can't put it down, I'm able to, listen in the car and then listen at home and then listen in the car and then listen before bed or read before bed. What do you do with books? Yeah. All of that. So this book is called Recursion. And it has a beautiful yellow, shiny cover. It is by Blake Crouch. And Blake, I've read one other book by him. It was called Dark Matter. Dark Matter explores the multiverse. People basically choosing different timelines, seeing what their other lives look like. And I would say Recursion is not too different. So if you liked Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, you will also like Recursion, very likely. The idea with Recursion is there's a woman named Helena, and she is inspired by her mother's Alzheimer's to create a device, a mechanism, which she calls her chair, that would allow somebody to almost upload their memories from their life in order to save them whenever memory degradation begins to happen.
Ooh.
And so, her mother has Alzheimer's, has dementia, and she sees that her mother is slowly starting to lose some of those memories. And so Helena, being a scientist, working at a university, she has funding and she's plugging away, but it's difficult because you have the higher ups that you have to please, and then you have the donors, and then you have the fundraising. And I have an uncle who kind of lives in this world, and sometimes the science has to take a backseat to the fundraising.
Right.
And so that's kind of the world that she's living in. One day somebody comes to her with a mysterious offer from a person who they cannot disclose. And they say, well, would you like unlimited funds to work on your project? And she's like, of course I would.
Let me think about that.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not so sure.
And, would you like unlimited, you can have everything you need at your disposal. You can be completely focused on your work, and your life's work that has taken you 10 years to get to this idea of a point, we can make a reality in like 2 years. And she's like, okay, let's do it. Mm-hmm. The unknown financier is someone of an Elon Musk kind of nature.
Okay.
And so his name is Marcus Slade in this book. And so she goes to Marcus Slade's work area, which is on an abandoned oil rig in the middle of the ocean. So it's very isolated, and Helena feels the best that she's ever felt. She's working out. She's completely focused. She's got a dedicated team of scientists. Anything that she wants, Marcus is right there for her. They get to the point where they're ready to do some of their first tests and see if memories actually can be uploaded and then even restored. And Marcus says, well, I have a better idea. And Marcus ends up seeing in his eyes, value of the opportunity to transport yourself back into memories and rewrite futures that you weren't so pleased with.
Oh, boy.
And so the book very quickly becomes like a cross between, my parents kept calling it Total Recall. I kept thinking Inception. Memento. Anything that kind of plays with your mind, lets you like jump back into your own history and rewrite the future. But then consequences not be darned. Consequences do happen, because as you rewrite your future going forward, how does that affect the other timelines? Mm-hmm. And so what comes about in this book is something called that the world, not knowing what's actually happening, is calling false memory syndrome. So false memory syndrome is when those two timelines, abruptly find each other, and you're suddenly filled with the knowledge of this other life that you had because somebody else has manipulated what it is. And so that is Recursion. It's really out there. It's really fun. You get a little trippy, but Blake does a good job explaining how you are where you are.
Well, you told me when you came in that you've tried to explain what this book is about to 3 different people, and you told it 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Is this number 4?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is the best, though. You guys got the best.
All right, great.
So that's Recursion by Blake Crouch.
Great. Kelly, what are you reading these days?
Ooh, I've got an exciting series to talk about, because at our house, I have Avenel, who is my 4-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She actually is an old 4. She'll be 5 in October. And she can now sit through chapter books.
Oh.
So we can read a couple chapters a night, and she can follow along without as many pictures. Very exciting time.
Yes.
Super exciting. Maybe more so since I'm a librarian, but but what we're reading right now, we've read like Princess in Black and some Disney princess books, but her favorite series right now is called Itty Bitty Princess Kitty.
Wait a minute. I have to check my blood sugar here.
It's so cute and sparkly and sweet.
It gets better. The author is Melody Muse,
mm-hmm.
which I don't know if that's her real name, but Melody Muse is the author. There are 4 books in the series, and here, let me tell you about it a little bit, and you try not to gag on the sweetness, because it is very sweet. But it's the story of a kitty named Itty Bitty, and she's pink. She lives in Lollyland, which is a very magical world, of course. Her best friend is Luna Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And Luna Unicorn, whenever she gets excited, she shoots glitter out of her horn.
Aww.
Oh, my goodness.
Cuter and cuter. So Itty Bitty is a part of the royal family, but she is not a princess yet in the first one.
Mm.
And then in the first one, she gets an announcement from her announcement fairy. So the announcement fairy comes and toots her little horn and tells her that her shooting star is going to come. Crazy. Her shooting star tells her that she's going to be a princess soon. So Itty Bitty is wrapped up in the world of becoming a princess, and preparations are beginning. And her mom and dad are getting her all ready, redoing her room, getting her sized up for gowns, because princesses have to wear gowns, and also getting her hair redone and making all these big changes. And of course, the most important thing is the crown, her tiara, picking out her tiara with the royal jeweler, who is, I think, a poodle, I think.
Oh, right.
Of
Yes.
course, yeah.
So she's getting ready to be a princess, and she starts getting really nervous, poor Itty Bitty, because she's afraid of all these changes is going to ruin what she already loves about her life. Her
Aww.
best friends, Luna the Unicorn and Esme the butterfly.
Mhm.
And she likes going to school, and she just gets really, really nervous about this big change. And so you kind of get to go on this journey with her as she prepares to get her shooting star that will make her an official princess. And I think that's all I can tell you without spoilers. But it does sound very sweet.
Spoilers.
So the series is called Itty Bitty.
Itty Bitty Princess Kitty.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
there are
already a
4
spoiler.
books
We
in the
know she
series.
becomes the princess. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yes. But there are 4 books in the series.
Oh my
The
gosh.
first one is called Princess Kitty.
mm.
And then there's the Royal Ball, where she has to prepare for a royal ball.
Mhm.
And then the Puppy Prince, who should be the pouty Pumpy Prince.
Mhm.
And the newest one, which we haven't read yet, is called Star Showers. So I don't know what all these shooting stars are going to be about, but I can't wait.
I think I'm vomiting rainbows after hearing that. Like there's something in my throat. And I just it's rainbows and sparkles.
It's like, and they tell time by mermaids singing. They sing notes on the hour,
Is
so
this
that's how
real
they
life?
tell what time it is. Like it's a vomit of sweetness.
Yeah,
I think that's a good
I want to
description.
be in a brainstorming session with Melody Muse for her next book and just like see what other things I can throw out there and be like, and then a leprechaun comes and brings her, her gold. And
I want the unicorns to stage a palace coup.
It's too dark, George.
I know. But,
Too dark.
Eventually, Evanel's going to want something more interesting. I mean, I think of my 10-year-old granddaughter who's doing horror makeup right now. And she put up this picture on Facebook where she looked like she'd been, burned beyond recognition. I mean, it was awful. So,
Right. Well, she is an old 4, so
yeah.
maybe
Yeah, that's probably it. So,
maybe that's for the
I
5.
wanted to throw that out there because I don't think the younger 4s, it's hard to sit through a chapter book. So I was giving a little pat on the back to the younger 4 parents.
Yeah, that's a good
These
concept.
are
Yeah.
older 4.
got it.
Good context.
Older 4.
So, and of course, for me, I read a graphic novel this week. So,
So what a
but
variety.
it's a little different. This was, back in 1938, Superman's introduced, and he's Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster introduced the character, becomes a huge hit. Then 2 years later, they start the very first radio show about Superman, and 6 years later, the series introduces a 16-part serial because it was a 15-day serial, 15 minutes a day serial. That it was Superman on the Mutual Broadcasting Network, and they started a 16-episode cycle called Superman Smashes the Klan. It was about the clan of the Fiery Cross, and what it was a group that had started up to fight against immigrants and people, 100% Americanism and all this sort of thing. And what Lois Lane and Clark Kent discover is that it's basically a Ponzi scheme
Okay.
to get people in, get their money, make them buy all this regalia, and it has no actual sentiment behind it. It's just a commercial thing. And it starts out by a Chinese family being attacked in Metropolis, and Superman comes to their aid. Anyway, it was an incredibly popular series. It became the top-rated children's series on radio while it was going on. And now, what is it, 60-some years later, 70 years later, it is a graphic novel called Superman Smashes the Klan, and it was done by Jean Luen Yang, and it is amazing. Because the interesting thing about the radio show with Superman is a lot of the things we know about Superman today, that he can fly rather than just leap, that he has kryptonite, that Perry White is the editor of the Daily Planet. All of those things were introduced in the radio series
Okay.
as opposed to the comic books, and were then introduced into the comic books later. And this comic not only explains the Superman versus the Klan story, but also explains how he came into these powers. So it's a really interesting novel. It's beautifully illustrated. It's good for all ages. There's nothing incredibly violent in it. There's no rough language or anything like that. So it's a really good story. And basically, it is a story of immigrants, because Superman comes to realize that he too is an immigrant,
Right.
and that he, that immigrants can as Hamilton says, immigrants make it happen.
They
right?
get it done.
They get it done. So anyway, it's a really interesting story. Again, it's Superman Smashes the Klan. It's available on Hoopla, which means it's available right now. You can download it. It looks great on an iPad. It looks great on a laptop. The colors are great, and like I say, it's a really good story. So again, I recommend it highly. It not only has the story, but then it has about a 5 or 6 page essay at the end about how it came to be written, how it came to be happen on the radio, and how this graphic novel came to be written. So
Neat.
well worth your time if you're a Superman superhero fan, graphic novel fan, or if you're like me, you love old time radio. The interesting thing about Superman on radio was he was played by Bud Collyer, who was better known in the 50s and 60s as a game show host.
Oh, okay.
He did To Tell the Truth. He did Beat the Clock. He did a number of game shows in the 50s and 60s.
Well, he had the
and
voice.
Looks about as much like Superman as, say, I don't know, Pee Wee Herman looked like Superman. So anyway, enjoy it, and we will be back in just a moment, so stay tuned. Hey, Gage, thank you very much, and big shout-out and thanks to our friends at the library. I was just talking with Karen Cowan, the president of the Friends, yesterday, and there's a possibility we're going to try to reschedule the dinner and a movie at the Orange
Yay.
Library, so stay tuned for that. We'll be working with them coming up soon, I'm sure. So we're glad to have Kelly Cochran, the Youth Services Manager for the Delaware County District Library, as our guest today. Kelly, with school starting up and with so much up in the air, I know that you and the youth services team and the communications team have been working diligently to come up with ways to help parents and students and teachers this school year. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Absolutely. So Delaware County, we actually serve 3 huge school districts. We have Olentangy, ginormous, Delaware City, and Buckeye Valley. And we've been trying to figure out the last couple months the best way we can help students, their parents, their caregivers, the teachers, and everyone in between on how to go back to school, where we don't even really know exactly what that looks like, and it keeps changing every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got together a group of people, a group of children's librarians. We had some adult services. Shout out to Joe, helping with the catalog. And communications, and we've just been brainstorming. And one of the first things we had to do was figure out what we already offer, because we offer a ton of stuff. And sometimes we need to pause for a moment and say, what are we already doing? Because it is a lot that we do every day.
Right.
So I guess that was like the main thing, is we had to figure out what we offered, and then what could we build on it to even do better in this new virtual COVID-19 world. And I guess the most important thing, and I hope is the main message of all the things, is that we have librarians available. We have these services librarians who are experts in early childhood education kind of stuff and resources for school-age kids. We have adult reference staff who are amazing and can do wonders in databases. And we just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're here, we're ready to help. And you can email us, you can call us, you can even chat us on the website, and we can help however we can. So that's like my biggest thing. It's like, we're here, call us, we'll help you.
Like Horton. I'm
Yep.
here, we are here, we are here.
Yeah, I mean, just yesterday I was at the post office, and the post office clerk said, "Now, is the library building open yet?" I said,
Oh,
yes,
since June.
we are open.
Yeah.
So, yes, please let people know we are here to help.
Yeah. Well, so Kelly, I
I'm
think.
like one step,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I said I'm one step short of standing in front of the schools with a sign that says, I'm here.
Right. So for me, I think one of the most things that's most helpful to me, even as a parent or as a member of the public who's looking for information, is kind of a little bit of like scenario building. So let's say we have a scenario that a mother who is helping out with her child's hybrid learning comes into the library and she says, my kid is doing great when they're at school, but they need a little extra help with, let's say, math. Where would you point that mother for help? Or what would be something that she could expect when she comes in?
That is a very good question. There's several things we can do. Actually, right now we are in the process of pulling out special collections that are books and materials that can help parents and caregivers kind of in that situation. And on those shelves are physical items that can help, such as like how to teach your kiddo how to do math. There's going to be flashcards on there. I just ordered a
Cool.
bunch of workbooks that will be popping up soon.
Oh,
So that's
neat.
like the physical thing. And then the librarian would also point you to our website, is DelawareLibrary.org. And then if you do a /student, there'll also be a link on our homepage. That will send the parent to a list of resources that are online. So there's databases. I know communications don't like the word database, but databases that are something that the library pays for that is like a step up from Google, way
Right.
better.
Right.
Mhm.
And then there's also links on there to different things that might help, like extra math practice. There's free websites that we've gone into, we've looked at, made sure they were really free, made sure
Mhm.
they looked good, that they can use to help. And then we can always just listen to the gripes
Exactly.
as well,
Part
and kind of help
therapist.
that way too. We're not therapists, but we'll listen.
Now, okay, let's say there's another scenario. Let's say George has
Mm-hmm.
a side hustle as a teacher.
God help their students.
And he calls the library and he says, I'm a teacher. I'm at Olentangy, let's say Liberty Middle School. And is that that's one of the middle schools, right? Good. Olentangy Liberty Middle School. And my classroom is doing a unit on bugs. What can you do for me?
Well, first of all, we would get really excited and tell you that we could do a virtual school visit.
Oh.
In the years past, we have had librarians go into the schools to talk about how to do research online, library book talks, and we can also supplement what their lesson plans a little bit
Oh,
too, and
neat.
show them what databases and what resources we have available to help that. So that would probably be the first thing they would say is like, oh my goodness, we can come do a virtual school visit. We'll Zoom in or whatever platform they're using, because every school is a little bit different, of
Right.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And we will virtually meet with their kids, and we would be super excited about that. And then we can also work through our outreach department. So shout out to outreach to work on creating maybe a drop-off collection where librarians will pull books that are the appropriate age level, the subject heading they want, and then the outreach department will bring it to the schools, and we'll probably set it outside and have someone come pick it up. They have their whole protocol to how to do that safely in
Mhm.
COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that teacher can have more books and materials in their classroom for their kiddos.
Wow.
So I just have to say,
Yeah.
I am really impressed with how the staff of the library, you mentioned youth services, adult services, outreach, communications, the IT people that keep our website up and running, the tech services people who are cataloging the materials as fast as they can to get them out on the shelf, and even different kinds of things that we haven't checked out before, like flashcards.
Right. Workbooks.
Working really hard to get those things out for the public to use. And of course, all of our branches are involved in this as well. I know we're running out of time here, but let's hit that website again.
Yeah.
DelawareLibrary.org/student. That's where you can go to get started. If you're not in the library, if you're in the library, ask us. And in fact, you can also use ask us at DelawareLibrary.org to get information from us as well. Wow, that sounds like I almost planned it that
smooth.
way, didn't it?
Way to go.
So anyway, Kelly, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody at the library who's been working so diligently to get these school resources and these educational resources together so that we can do our best to slow down the slide that we're having with education this year. We were really working hard with the schools, with the parents, with the students to make things happen. So thank you, and thank everybody on the team who's been working on this. So I don't think we've got any big
Story
events.
times start back up next week on the 3rd. We have a virtual story time with Miss Melissa at 10 a.m. Tune in on our Facebook channel.
Sounds like a plan. So thank you very much, Kelly, and thank you, Nicole.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Gage.
My
and
pleasure.
Thank everybody for listening, and we will see you in the stacks.